expand your base, you're going to need two vital machines, the hydraulic pipe bender and the electronics printer. Both of those can be made from the auto lathe. You'll need iron, copper and gold, so you'll need to go and mine and smelt some of that. Once you've done that, print each of them from the printer. They'll both take some time to print, and they'll also use a fair bit of power, so make sure that your batteries are well charged. If the battery runs out during the print will stop. You won't waste the raw materials, but you will waste any power that's gone into producing them. And at this stage, power is a critical resource for us. You'll see when I'm printing that I always click the button to left or right after I've pressed the print button, and I do that because what that means is it won't automatically just keep churning out more copies. Clearly we don't want to waste large quantities of resources early in the game on something that we only needed one of. When I hover over it, although it will say geometric wall, it is in fact printing the pipe bender. So you can see on the pop-up it says creating kit, geometric wall 35%. Actually it's creating the hydraulic pipe bender because that's what it was set to when I pressed the button. If I move this along here, you'll see it says it's creating the flat wall because that's what it's currently set to. So I'm going to move that to electronics printer because that's the next one we'll need. You can see they do take quite a while to print. This is currently only at nearly halfway there. So you can see it's important to make sure that you have enough power to keep your power on for the whole duration of that print. And bear in mind it also depends what else you're doing. So currently in this arc furnace it's just finished smelting some gold. That's a particularly power intensive activity, and so be aware of that before starting long prints, because if you ruin the print by failing power and have to start again, it can waste a lot of time, and early game where power is short, that can be a real problem. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip forward in this video to the piece where both of the hydraulic pipe bender and the electronics printer are both printed. Okay, so we've printed the hydraulic pipe bender and the electronics printer. Let's get them installed. So I'm going to start with the hydraulic pipe bender. If you can only make one of these machines, the hydraulic pipe bender is often the most useful one to start with. You'll see that I've created a flat area here to build on. This also helps to minimize the amount of additional cable we require, and I'm going to place these back to back with the original printer.
Hydration critical.
Be careful when you do that, they do slightly clip. It's not a huge problem, but this is more of an issue. Be aware that things coming out of the electronics printer potentially are going to end up in the import chute of the hydraulic pipe bender. Again, as you get more resources, you can spread your base over a wider area. So let's start by laying in the cable that we're going to need for these. The power is on the right hand side. I'm not going to connect the data ports at this time, there's no need, and cable will be short early in the game. Of course you can make more cable at any time now that you've got a working auto lathe and arc furnace by mining some copper, and then you can print cable in the auto lathe. It's worth noting once you have these machines up and running though that the printing of cable in the auto lathe is substantially slower than printing cable in the electronics printer. Likewise, there are items like chutes that you can print in the auto lathe or the hydraulic pipe bender. Using the specialist machine will always be slightly quicker, but the resource requirement remains the same. So I've connected up where the cable needs to go. The next thing I will need for each of these will be iron sheets. Right click to turn on, weld, and you'll see it needs 2 iron sheets for each one. And similarly to the auto lathe, it will also require 4 cable for each one.
Power low.
And it will also require plastic sheets. So the power low warning comes on actually at 50%, which personally I don't feel is awfully low. Okay, right, so we weld those. So again, 2 plastic sheets for each one. Put that on the belt with double tap, didn't tap it quite fast enough then. Screwdriver, and then just finish them off. So the build's exactly the same process as the auto lathe, requiring the same materials other than of course the base kit to get them going, and then you're ready to go.